P good. Nothing extraordinary happened. Been going to the gym consistently. Lost 5 pounds since the last stream, so that's kind of cool.
Nice.
Shows that consistency and actually getting out there does pay off. Big thing I'm excited for tonight. Can I say it?
What's coming out?
Fucking Endgame! Super loud there. Might have broken the mic. But yeah, fucking super hyped to go see Endgame tonight in 3D.
Hell yeah. That's good.
Can't wait to see Ant-Man go up that Thanos.
God.
I hate that fucking meme so much. I hate that meme.
I already thought it was stupid, and then the media decided it was so funny.
The kids love Thanos.
That they want to say it. I think I saw it on Graham Norton. It was on Neil deGrasse Tyson show. Like, I do like the fact that Neil deGrasse Tyson was also not a fan of it.
Don't try to legitimize this stupid offhand comment that someone made by bringing a scientist. I mean, he is the people's scientist, I guess, because Bill Nye's old now. But like, don't legitimize this bullshit. This is stupid. This is the stupidest thing in the world.
He doesn't aggregate his own stuff, so
that's true.
He didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Just Endgame. Kind of just been looking forward to that.
Nice.
How about you?
Let's see. 2 games came out this week that I've been wanting to play. Dragon's Dogma got ported to Switch, which is cool, so I can play that again.
Very nice.
I can see my copy of Dragon's Dogma for the PS3 right over there. So that's been pretty good. Dragon's Dogma is definitely one of my most favorite RPGs that I think no one I know has actually played. I'm fairly sure. But
I mean, at GameStop, really I saw 1 billion copies of it, but I never actually picked it up. It looks cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really good action RPG with. I don't know. I just like a lot of the gameplay elements. It's cool. It's like a Western. It feels like a Western RPG that was developed by an Eastern production company. So it's got a kind of like. I don't know. I just think it's really cool when the Japanese have a take on what Western RPGs are like.
Yeah.
Because those usually end up a bit better than when the Western tries to do an Eastern style game. Although sometimes that can be cool sometimes, but I can think of a good example. And then MK11, of course, came out, and that's been a lot of fun. I gotta say, I'm actually not really too crazy. If I could do it all over again, I would probably get it on the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Because having it on the go is cool. Mm-hmm. That part's cool, and it looks fine when it's docked.
Mm-hmm. But
it's really... They kept it at 60 frames, but to do that, they had to sacrifice some of the resolution, so it doesn't look too good on mobile. So I don't know. It's fine, and I've been playing it, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I am not digging it as much as a lot of other people who are a little more forgiving about that. But I am a bit of a graphics snob, so I can't really say that it's because everything else is fine.
Yeah.
It's just that I don't care for the downgrade in graphics.
This is MK11, Dragon's Dogma?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, and what else? I don't know. I have MK11 used, but I feel like you need to say something first about MK11 now that it's out. That differs from your original opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I was
the storyline.
Taken aback. I played a little bit of it. I did cheat and like look into the storyline to see how it goes and watch all the cutscenes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be a weak kind of cop out.
Yeah, we're going to also keep it spoiler free because I haven't gotten that far. So
yeah,
but be as vague as possible. But make your points.
The narrative is solid. It's a cool story. It's not. I mean, how can I say too much without giving away too much?
I know
it doesn't. It doesn't rely too heavily on the whole, like, multiverse theory. We can just do whatever now.
There's a point.
There is a point, okay. And I love the... I can't say anything.
I know. The reason I want to keep it is it's just like the game is, at this point,
it's still new.
Old. Like, it's like... Yeah.
2 days old.
Yeah. It's... I just don't want to... For people that are going to listen to this, especially the busy ones...
Mm-hmm.
With jobs, or probably haven't been able to put that much time into it yet, as much time as I'd like to. So maybe, or maybe that's just me, and I just don't get time to play games anymore. But
no, that's like I said. I cheated. I watched the cutscene because I wanted to know.
With that being the case, but
the gameplay is fun.
As I get through it in time, maybe the next time or the time after, we'll talk about it more.
We'll talk about it when you beat it because it is a very good narrative, and I take back
pretty cool.
the misassumptions I had. Misassumptions,
right? That it was a cop out.
Yeah, they good job, Ed Boon.
Yeah, good job, guys. Good NetherRealm Studios.
Yeah, and MK didn't let me down.
Good. So it seems to be getting pretty good reception across the board. I want to say it has a really high Metacritic right now, and it's been praised for most things. It's probably the most legitimate of a fighting game that NetherRealm's ever made. Yeah. And I say that I'm not a hardcore fighting game guy, but the opinions of people I know that are deep in there and play like actual fighting games, and I hate to say that, but a lot of people definitely wouldn't say that Mortal Kombat or Injustice are serious contenders for skill-based fighting games.
It's not like Street
which
Fighter.
I would say is exactly
or King of
Fighters, which I would say is both. Yeah. But which I would say is related to the fact that most people I know that like Injustice, Dragon Ball Fighters, Fighter Z.
Technically, yeah.
And then,
Fighter Z.
and Mortal Kombat differ from people I know that play King of Fighters, Street Fighter, and the quote-unquote legitimate fighting games.
Is Tekken in that category?
Yes.
Legit fighter, yeah.
As far as like 3D fighters go, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you have that subset of people who aren't into 3D fighters and I like 2D fighters and vice versa. But getting back to the point, MK11 has been seen as pretty legitimate, a lot deeper mechanics this time. So it plays really well, and it's harder to button mash without getting punished. Like,
very true.
You actually have to know what you're doing this time, unlike the previous installments of Injustice and Mortal Kombat, where you could. I mean, obviously, a skilled player will still be the spammer, but this time the spammer pretty much has no chance.
Yeah, I love that. I guess it's a little. It's counter the Jawbreaker move.
Yeah, they have the counter, which that can happen one per type each match. And they also changed it with the X-ray move, how you can only do it if you're almost dead, as opposed to in the previous installment where you can just hit fucking L2 and R2 whenever you wanted, and even if you had full health, just fucking get in there and knock the guy down to half health. It's a pretty fun comeback mechanic now, and makes more sense to only be able to do it if you're desperate.
Yeah.
Which is when I would save it anyway, so for me...
exactly. It's a smart move.
That it became a mechanic. I like the division of the 2 meters, the defense and the attack meter that you can build up to do certain things, which it's nice. More meter management than there was before. Mm-hmm. Before you would just basically, when am I going to get my X-ray move? Was the only thing you really gave a shit about before. And I know, here we go, I'm going to get actually again. For those of you who are like super deep in that NetherRealm fighting game universe, like Schaefer, who would probably criticize and is cringing at everything I'm saying right now. That's how, that's from my point of view. But those changes are for sure. My opinions were on how I felt they were different. Mm-hmm. Which a lot of people are saying, so I'm not the only one. So there's that. Lots of customization, which also segues into the not so great stuff about it. So there's a lot of cool customizations in terms of aesthetics. You can add a new subset of moves that because you choose a different type, like Sub-Zero this and Sub-Zero that, and so on and so forth. Which of course, in the main tourney thing, they kind of, in like the actual online and competitive modes, you can only use the 2 subsets because those are actually balanced, and the other ones might throw it off. But you can do all sorts of customizations, both move set wise and aesthetic wise. But how you unlock those is where people are having issue with it. You have to do the Tower of Time or some shit like that, and the Crypt.
Yeah.
And they both have their downsides. The Crypt basically turns into an action-adventure game, and you're just running around literally in this crypt and trying to unlock stuff and do challenges and things like that. But the problem is, there are a few times where, like, there's random... Like, it reminded me of a lot of indie horror games that I would play back in the day where they just jump scare death, basically, and that can happen sometimes, which is annoying to mess up your progress if you're in the middle of trying to do something. And then in the trials or whatever, the tower or whatever, the challenge fights essentially is what they are.
Yeah.
They have it where basically you're having a regular match, but then all this stuff is happening. Like projectiles are just constantly coming at you, or you're slower, or the enemy starts with double your health. You start with half health, or whatever the case is. Just all this really gimmicky challenge shit that is unfortunately implemented in a not fun way. Mm-hmm. based on mass opinion, obviously, I'm sure some of you are like, get good. But, I mean, for me, it only counts as get good if the mechanic itself is to actually get skillfully good at something that makes, like, that has a point to getting good at. Like mechanic yeah, like something, yeah. Exactly. Not just getting good at broken shit, literally, admittedly broken shit on purpose. But another thing that kind of reflects the fact that that isn't just the opinion of a few is the fact that NetherRealm has announced already that they are bringing fixes and balance changes to the crypt and
that's good.
So I think that they too agree that they may have gone a little too ham on that in a not so good way. So yeah.
Well, those like special matches, that's kind of a holdover from Injustice 2,
which was a holdover from MK
10. Yeah.
So
yeah,
MK10 started, I think, the modern set because MK10, then Injustice.
Yeah.
Oh no, excuse me. MK9, then Injustice. MK9 started it. MK9, then Injustice, then MK11, then Injustice 2, and then now MK11. But yeah, I know that that's not necessarily new, but it's the first time that they've locked stuff behind it that you really want.
That's what I was gonna say. Before it didn't matter. It was just
just
this is it. Progress, earn for like skin unlocks or upgrade. Yeah, now it matters.
Exactly.
That's kind of I want this, so
not that
cool.
It sucks, but hopefully they make it not too easy. I mean, I understand having a bit of a challenge, but it is pretty ridiculous right now. If you ever get the chance to try it, like, we can talk about it later at a time and see what you think about it.
Yeah, because I only did the matches.
Or if people are
because there was
legit and like asking for it to be nerfed a bit.
I was going to say, there were jump scares in the crypt too. Like, you had wolves or spiders back in MK10.
Right, true.
But now that it's for something, it's kind of like...
Well, yeah, you're right, exactly. Yeah. So it's nothing new, it's just, now it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few things that are new bullshit, but that's just beating a dead horse at this point. Oh, so, ex-IGN editor, Philip Musian, something like that, I probably said that super wrong. Mm-hmm. So he was fired a while back, for plagiarism. And that basically... Nothing much really happened after that. So he plagiarized, he got caught, and he got fired, right?
So it goes.
But he recently admitted to the plagiarism finally, like 8 months after it all went down. He finally admitted and said, yeah, I did that shit.
Uh-huh.
And he's just kind of apologized. I don't know if he's doing it for PR purposes, if he's genuinely sorry, if he needs a new job, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
Not much has been heard from him, so no one really knows what's up. I'm sure if he's writing for another company now, he's using a pen name or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he came out and admitted he was wrong, and he did admit to what were at the time accusations, although it did get him fired. And this all started basically after he ripped off a review about from Boomstick was the original writers, and he basically cut and paste that, altered it a bit, so on and so forth. At least when we do our stories, even if I take them, I always link all the sources on our website. You can see exactly what article I read, where I got this from.
Always cite your sources, kids.
Exactly. And everything we do say on here are our opinions.
Yeah.
So I kind of mix what we heard about with our opinions, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because since I show the source material, since I cite my sources, and since, obviously on here, if I am using someone's words, like when I use stuff from the Jimquisition or Castle Super Beast, I will very explicitly be like, when they said this on here, who said it, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think we're protected by
that's how you do it.
Yeah.
But it turns out though that he admitted that he had been stealing from all sorts of places, and he stole so many of his reviews. Lots of stuff from Bayonetta 2 and everything else, and all sorts of different things. And what he would do is, obviously IGN, major outlet, he was stealing from all sorts of indie outlets. So he would take from like Nintendo Now and all this stuff, and like the little indie,
the small
journalists,
guys,
and then repurpose it. And that's just really fucked up. And I guess that's how he thought he might get away with it. Is that I'm IGN, my word reaches more people, so people will probably just assume that
it was me.
And then these guys may have gotten influenced by what I said, even though those reviews were published first, obviously, but still. So that's basically what he was doing. Basically, when the game would hit, he would basically everyone's pretty quick about pulling the trigger on writing reviews now.
You have to be, yeah.
Is exactly because the media is just so quick. It's like all these tech channels I follow, whenever they get their test units for the upcoming phones or whatever, they've already written the review 8 hours after they've received them, or usually a day after, so they have fair enough time to play with it or whatever.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But anyways, point being is it's just really sad that he was just curb stomping little. Well, I guess he didn't curb stomp them too hard because they're the ones who still exist.
Yeah.
But point being is he was victimizing little publications. It'd be like someone listening to our podcast and then repurposing it into another podcast and using the opinion sections and just literally just copying what we say verbatim and doing something like that.
Ooh, give us the clout.
I know, but
that's it's really sad and pathetic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like plagiarism's nothing new, but it always sucks when it happens. It's like a crime, it is a crime.
It is a crime.
It's like but it's like anything that obviously sucks, still sucks when it happens.
It just shows how little talent the plagiarist has.
Exactly, which, whatever. I mean, I guess he admitted to it, but it's not like it fixes anything, but whatever. I'm sure it was just to clear his own conscience. Or again, he's just trying to fucking clean up a resume, so he's just like, fuck, I better just try to be admit to it and then sweep it under the rug and look like a hero.
Yeah, and hero.
Let's see. Oh, Kotaku Australia posted an article recently that I found really interesting that basically talks about a lot of these things, Stadia, the Xbox SAD, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Are obviously gearing towards a more all-digital future, which we've all kind of grown accustomed to and we all kind of embrace because that's how we consume media now mostly, is streaming to what we watch, downloading the video games directly to our hard drive. We're just a grab-and-go society now.
It's convenient.
It's convenient, yeah. We're a society of convenience now, just what it is. Call it sad, call it lazy, what you will. It's all of those things.
I love Wall-E.
It's just, exactly, it's just, we became what we've kind of always said, what we always predicted we would become.
Yeah.
And basically, the article that Kotaku Australia wrote was talking about the downsides of such things, as streaming or always online or being at the mercy of the streaming or of the clients and the services, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, what have you.
Netflix, Hulu,
because
blah, blah, blah.
Basically, when the internet's gone, you have nothing. If it's a streaming service.
No, you're right.
And then, on top of that, they can block content, too. So if a game gets removed from Earth, a.k.a., a.k.a., what the fuck, a la PT...
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. No more.
You can't do anything about
it.
So
it. Yep.
If your PS4 bricks or you reset it like I did, oh well. And then now that game doesn't cease to exist, and that can happen,
Yeah.
Fuck, I can't remember the name. There was an Xbox 360 game that did really bad and eventually got pulled from. There was two of them.
Defiance.
And but they got pulled from basically both games. Got the rights pulled and ceased to exist now. However, if you have an existing copy, you could still play the game. I don't know why, because the games are terrible. But let's just say it happened to a good game.
Yeah,
it's the scare of that. Say Kojima and Konami get into some fucking dispute, and somehow it makes the original Metal Gear games pre-Survive all no-go anymore. The agreement, let's just say, is that they can no longer sell it.
Yeah.
Or let's just say that the judge agrees, you know what, not just can you not sell it, but people shouldn't be playing this anymore. If that ever happens, then Sony will be like, hey, you're going to have, we're just going to stop selling this off this, or letting you download, even if you have it on your cloud and you're going to re-download it. No, after this date, it's gone. Whatever. So now people are going to have spare PS4s or whatever that you're going to keep offline all the time. They just have those games on there. That way you can always play them when you want to.
Yeah.
You just got to stay online. But if we go more towards this all-digital future...
No, it ruins it.
Issues like this and newer issues will start to become more pertinent, and then we're going to realize the flaw behind such things.
I kind of thought... I read World... Little aside. It's relevant to this. I read World War Z once a year because it's a great book. And there's this part where... I guess some guy gets married in the post-zombie world, right? And they bring out a porn DVD, and the guy's talking about how the point of that is that, you know, he sees a car and they don't make them like that anymore. But it made me think in the digital world, how when the internet's gone, that's it. Everything's gone.
Yeah, if the internet ever somehow just shuts down.
Went away, yeah. Like if the zombies attacked, you know. But that made me think, well, maybe I'll keep some digital media. It's funny you bring up Metal Gear, because I do have all...
You mean physical media?
Yeah, physical media, yeah. Physical discs, yeah.
Just in case, because I know someone's going to hear that.
Someone's going to say, actually. No, I do have, even though I have Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain downloaded, I actually have the physical copies still.
Me too. I have them physical on Xbox One, and I have them digital on PlayStation 4.
If anything, the only thing I don't have is Acid. But everything else I have, like I have the PSP still, and I have the Legacy Collection.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, I fucking love Metal Gear.
Yeah, I have the Legacy Collection. I can see peeking. It's actually next to Dragon's Dogma, relevant.
There it is, yeah.
But anyways.
But yeah, it's funny to think that how reliant we become on that.
Yeah, it's like the real fucked up thing that shows this is when we have power outages. Yeah. Thankfully, we don't live in a country where that's common, which is like, because I know a few people that live in some rougher areas, and they'll go like days without electricity sometimes.
Jesus.
And I think about that, and I go, "Fuck, man! Like I can barely handle a few out." Well, you know what dumb, like, fucked up thing I do when the power goes out? I just go to sleep.
Yeah.
And I hope that when I wake up, it doesn't matter what fucking time of the day it is. It can be any fucking time of the day. And if the power goes out, and I was in the middle of trying to do some shit, and I'm not gonna be able to do it now. And I'm not going to waste what little power I have left on my phone to just look at dumb shit.
Yeah. Just go into stasis.
Yeah. Just go to sleep.
You know
Fuck it. And when I wake up in 3, 6, 8, 12 hours, hopefully it'll be back.
You know what I do? I have spare power batteries, power packs.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That I keep charging.
Usually I do. That's usually part of my policy, but I've been too lazy and haven't charged mine in a while, so I'm watching me get fucked.
I feel like a prepper.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's that. But yeah, so a little scary to think about. Because then the content we consume, if it is all digital, and say they just stop, like, you know, CDs are fucking waste. Games will go down to $50 a piece now instead of $60, as long as we don't, because we're not going to produce physical ones anymore. Stuff like that would be still scary, because then we're still at their, they're at their mercy.
Yeah. I feel like the physical price would go up, though, just because of scarcity.
Oh, the physical price will go up. I was talking about the digital price going down.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like, you know, like the game companies will be like, hey, you know, kind of like to make it more convincing as to why it's fine for them to stop producing physical copies.
Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, the game industry will now stop selling physical copies after X date, and then after X date games will now drop to $50 because you don't have a choice but to get it digital. So
but will they be complete?
Well, that doesn't change whether it's physical or not. Battlefront 2 physical doesn't have anything, so there's that. But yeah, there's that. This was actually supposed to be on last week's docket, because if I don't mention this now, we would definitely get called out on being late ass news. I just don't know how I just overread it on the last docket. But Sony has recently announced that they are revising their guidelines to be more strict. Independent of the already existing ESRB, which is the whole reason there's a rating system and pass system to begin with.
Yeah. Because
all games are judged and by the ESRB, and then each hit with their appropriate ratings.
Movies, music, etc., etc.
Well, the ESRB I think only does video games.
No, I'm just saying in the same sense.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, but anyways, they're gonna be more strict, although they weren't very clear, at least from what I gathered. And what I read, they weren't exactly clear on what they mean by stricter, other than the fact that it is primarily focused on being stricter about sexual content, which primarily means a lot of Western developers are very scarce with sexual content. There's not much sexual content in Western world developed games, but in Eastern developed games there's a lot more sexual content. And with that being the case, it seems like Sony's kind of policing this to... It seems like they're preemptively trying to cover their asses just in case some games being imported from Japan are pretty lewd and not, you know, meeting to the American ESRB, because the ESRB does not rate. That's North America only.
Yeah.
So with that being the case, it just seems like they're kind of saying, hey, we are probably I think they're not. Maybe they're going to stop selling certain types of games, RPGs and whatnot. Even games like DOA would be at risk of just not being sold here in the States anymore. So it just seems like they're going in that direction, which it really seems like they were spooked by something. I don't think there's been a major lawsuit recently, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's one behind the scenes that's causing this.
So it's funny coming from the system that I have Onichibara and DOA on.
Yeah. And so with that, I don't know. Yeah, it's just games like that. They may not see the light of day here anymore.
That's crazy.
If they are really as strict as it looks like they're being, but they also what the fuck? Let me restart that. Why do I keep saying they? Me. I'm trying to talk. I have an example recently that I can think of was in Devil May Cry 5. Although I believe they uncensored it. If I remember correctly, the patch uncensored it. So this is kind of oddly timed to being used after DMC5. Mm-hmm. But basically there's a scene that was... Or maybe I just saw the Japanese one. I don't fucking know. Regardless... The Western and Japanese releases of DMC were different in several ways, but one primary difference was the scene where Dante picks up Trish. She's in the nude. And
like in the nude or naked? Because that has like weirdly different definitions.
How does that have a different definition?
Because like a girl in her bra and panties can be considered nude.
By who? By the 50s?
Yeah, well,
I was going to say,
yeah. So
I don't know.
So Trish is naked.
As an English major, nude being naked, because that's what nude, you guys can look it up at home.
Yeah.
In the dictionary, nude means naked, so I don't know what fuckhead. If it's someone you know, I'm going to call him right now. You're a fuckhead if you think that. No. So, in English standards, nude meaning naked.
Yeah.
Not in Zimbabwe or whatever fucking language that nude means not otherwise. There's a scene where she's nude, naked, same thing, and Dante picks her up, and in the American release, they don't show the scene where he picks her up in the Japanese one. Her butt is like you see her butt, and then he carries her and then hands her off to fucking Nero, or is it V? I forgot, but. And says, watch her, I'm gonna go, do my meme. And then, and then he of course, that's the funny thing about a lot of Japanese media, how like, it's like Star Wars where it's just, sex doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And, it's very funny because, he hands him, like, puts naked Trish on the ground in front of him, and his first thing is Dante, and then, and it's just funny. Yeah. Because in the Western world, that would have been it would have been that guy being that guy.
Yeah.
But over there, he just immediately is more worried about what Dante's gonna go fight.
Yeah.
Than But anyways,
tits.
But yeah, so that scene's completely different in the American one. That you don't see her butt at all. It's just completely like that frame. Those frames don't exist. And then in the Japanese one, you just see her ass. But I swear I saw something that it was patched. It's patched in or out. I don't remember now.
Uh-huh.
I can see it being patched in if people were like, that's stupid, it's a mature game, why is that patched out? I can see them patching it in. Yeah. But I can also, of course, see them patching it out for more obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But regardless, Trish's ass is there in one version and not the other. So I just find that interesting, especially. But again, Sony getting stricter on their sexual content guidelines.
That's very interesting. I wonder why.
Don't know. Might be disappointing news. And speaking of disappointing news, they finally announced what Persona 5 S's. 99% of people on Earth assumed it was going to be a Switch port. Sadly, it's not.
Aww.
Now, it doesn't mean that a Switch port still couldn't happen. It just means that of the announced Persona games, Persona 5 The Royal and Persona 5 S is not going to be the Switch port.
So what's the S?
Instead, Persona 5 S is going to be Persona 5 Scramble, The Phantom Strikers, which is going to be a spin-off game, which will come out on Switch. So it's kind of funny. There will be a Persona 5 game on Switch. It just won't be Persona 5.
Wow.
But it's an interesting take. If from what I recall of the Persona games I've played, or even any of the Shin Megami Tensei games or anything like that, I don't recall there being this type of spin-off, but it's a Muso beat-em-up, aka Dynasty Warrior style.
Cool.
So that could be pretty cool. The cast of Persona 5, and who knows, maybe some other Persona characters might make a cameo in it, although I believe it was branded Persona 5, so probably not.
Yeah.
But that'll be fun. But it is going to come out on PS4 and Switch. No release date was given yet, but I think Atlas felt the weight on their shoulders of this rumored Switch port, and they were just like, look, listen, guys.
It's a nice
fucking
words
S doesn't always mean Switch, even if Patrick wants to think so. But yeah, so that's coming out. That's going to be pretty fun. And then, of course, Persona 5 The Royal is going to come out this year in Japan, but not until 2020 the rest of the world.
Cool.
But we got to see a more elaborate trailer. It showed that there are going to be brand new areas where you can socialize with some of the other party members, build your S-Links, and all that good stuff. They have new attack animations, very similar to what Persona 4 Golden did. Brand new theme song, so on and so forth. Basically a repackage of the game. Same game plus more stuff. So, kind of like a nice complete package to pick up if you don't own the game already, but even if you do, very different enough that you still should. They introduced a new character, Kasumi Yoshizawa, and she's a gymnast, kind of like, she seems like she's upper class. Her fight style uses a rapier, and she switches between that and a Winchester-style rifle. Ooh. So that should be pretty cool. These new characters that they usually add in these rebuilds are pretty fun normally. In Persona 3 with FES, they added the female protagonist that you could play as, and it does change enough. Again, something cool to play. I think even if you haven't played it or have, you should pick up both versions to get the full experience, especially if you're going to buy both of them on PS4 anyways. And it's another... I don't know, I'm just a little sad that they didn't announce that the Royal remake is for Switch. I really wish it was, because it would have been the perfect time to do that, but...
It's okay, bro. You'll get there.
I think there's...
we'll get there.
I think I believe they're doing another Persona... I think they're doing Q2, which is pretty cool. That was a little more different. That one's a dungeon crawler, more like Etrian Odyssey, but
Ooh.
I hope that the actual Persona 5 comes out as well, because having multiple... Persona games come out for it will be cool for the people in Switch to start building their library with that, because it would be the first one to make an appearance on a Nintendo console since Persona Q on DS. So there's that. Persona also actually has their live concert. Persona always known for having some of the best music in video game history, so it's gonna be having their live concert, which will actually be taking place as we were recording this. Today's day 2 already of the concert, so you guys would know already when we recorded this. But it would be the 24th and 25th, and so there are places where you can live stream the concert. I know that one of the more well-known places that you could stream it was on like Nika Duga or whatever it is. If you have a premium account, you could stream it from there. So that's always cool. The Persona music's very good, so it's always nice to hear that performed live, kind of like when Nobuo Uematsu would tour and do the Final Fantasy songs with his band, the Black Mages.
Oh, yeah,
that was always cool. So hopefully I'll get to see I won't be able to see the live stream because at this point it would already been done. But I hope I get to see a replay of it, because that would be really nice to check out. Speaking of cool things to check out, Overwatch Workshop recently announced.
Oh, yeah.
The developer. Of course, it's on PC first, like everything else. It's going to be it's on the PTR servers, so everyone's testing those out.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Get all the script kiddies wet and wild over here. Get them excited.
Yeah, basically what you get to do is you can alter and play around with the game scripts to do your own modes. People have already been doing cool stuff like an ice skating ring thing with May, as well as a Battle Royale, Fortnite PUBG style mode. And all sorts of other stuff that you can see come out of creative modes like that. So it's cool to see that introduced, and that'll only make the life of the game longer, which is great. You can do other cool stuff, like other than the scripting of the stage and characters, you can also adjust damage values, healing values, so on and so forth. Character stats can be upped. You can basically have a mode where you play as like a fucking Ultra Mega Hulk Soldier 76 and go against everyone, or whatever you want to do.
Ooh, like what was that game, Evolve?
Yeah, kind of like that. And then
I really appreciate that they have their own debugging tool in there.
Yeah. That it's necessary, especially if you're going to be fucking with script. But
yeah, I know.
It's
good guy Blizzard looking out.
It's cool that they can do that. An article I did see today that before we recorded that I disagree with it, but I want to know your honest opinion. It was an article by The Verge that first talked about the workshop mode, which is cool and all. But then they had a little like add-on, a mini article essentially, or mini editorial, where they were talking about how Overwatch should make the transition to free-to-play. I've seen it work, and I've seen it not work, and I think if any game could possibly pull it off, it would be Overwatch. But I feel like the way the game's been already, and to keep the game's integrity and not cause issues, like we're going to actually talk about some pretty hefty issues later on in the podcast, I think it's best that Overwatch stay the way it is now. A $60 plop, or if you get it on sale, it's a good pickup. But even at $60, it's a great pickup.
Yeah,
and they just keep continuing to support it like that. Buy it once and free DLC. I think that's how it should be.
What is The Verge asserting here, that you pay?
That it should become free to play. Like,
that you don't pay at all.
No, not that you don't play at all. I forget you're not a PC gamer. Sorry. When I do these analogies, I keep thinking you're gonna understand the idea.
I'm a console pleb.
And then I forget that when you hear free, you probably literally think free to play. So basically, so imagine it like this. I'm going to set it up like League of Legends, which is probably the format they would use if that's the case. So say you're a free player, right? Every month or season or whatever they want to do, there'll be a set of characters. So if you're a free-to-play player and you've never bought the game and you install it, you can play as Soldier 76 and Mercy.
Okay, cool. Oh,
and then in 3 months, you're going to play Zenyatta and Batista. Oh my god. I have free to play for sure then, if that's the case. No, but anyways, then, you get to play as Zenyatta and Baptiste. And then 3 more months later, you get to play as Reaper and Hanzo. Okay, so point made, right? Yeah. Or you can buy the characters at $5 a piece, or whatever the case. I'm just making up fucking horseshit fucking prices, obviously.
Yeah.
But now you get the point.
No, I see what they're asserting.
And DOA did the same thing. DOA 5, you could they had a free-to-play version. You buy just the characters you use. Yeah. Or buy the costumes were always like, buy just the costumes you use. But point being, buy the content as you consume it, as you want it. But I just think that even though that does work, again, for games like League and Fortnite, I just don't. Overwatch. If Overwatch started like that, then shrug. Yeah, exactly. The fact that Overwatch has been this way, and granted not an infallible game, but a great game, I don't see why they should fuck with it.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree. I think with them, 65 is more than reasonable for the amount of content you get, especially with the way Blizzard continues to deliver.
Yeah, because think about it, right?
Year after year,
if you did the free to play, and again, I would assume this is why a businessman would want to argue towards it. Yeah. Obviously, if you do the free to play and you were to buy the characters a la carte, it would already be way more than $60, and that's kind of like why they do that.
Would want to, yeah.
But again, I feel it would fuck with the integrity of the game. Yeah. And causing issues in raising how much the game's overall price would end up being, or then charging, or let's just say charge current players. What it could do is it would also cause issue where the value would become bad if you don't buy it for $60. It basically almost eliminate its own point of existing, because what do you say, right? You say, well, if you bought it from $60 from 2020 out, you have to buy the rest of the content now. Yeah. That would fuck it up for the people who bought it and were promised free content all the time, right? But then if you go, well, we'll let the people who bought it for $60 get all the content for free forever. Well, now you're fucking over all the free-to-play players, because that's way too much content to be getting for free. Because then everyone will just be like, well, fuck it, I'll eat the $60 now, and then and then fucking it's not, so that's why I don't think it'll work.
Let's just look at it this way. So the average Overwatch player has probably bought loot boxes, probably bought multiple packs of loot boxes. Right. So, and the majority of players that I know, at least every player that I know, paid $15 for the Mercy skin. Mm-hmm. For a noble cause, but yeah, I'm sure Blizzard got a bit of a kickback.
No, they actually didn't.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, good guy Blizzard. That being said, Going back to my original point with the loot boxes. So already there, the average Overwatch player in their lifetime of having the game has spent way more than $60. Yeah. So making it free to play would just feel like a betrayal.
To those who've already spent money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's either a betrayal to them or you fuck over the free to play players a lot.
Yeah.
It just too late.
Just don't. Yeah. Just,
a little too late.
We're 3 years in, right? 3? We're on the 3rd anniversary.
Yes.
Yeah, with Storm Rising. Yeah. So no, don't leave it the way it is. It's perfect to me. You know. Don't fuck with it.
Exactly. Let's see. Oh, we spoke about League of Legends. I forgot that there was a thing on that. Fuck, I forgot the name of the streamer. Oh well, too late. I'm not gonna look it up. Everyone, I'll link it below. I forgot the name of the streamer. Plus, I don't really want to make too big of a deal of what his name was. We'll get to it. You guys will get why So anyways, League of Legends player was recently banned from Twitch for using a racial slur. That's what they thought happened.
What?
So, going over the footage, it's clear that the guy, at least unless the footage was doctored or whatever in post, it was clear that the guy was just an idiot. I honestly, listening to it, don't even know what you could have possibly heard. But he was, So, first, he was banned. And then he was just like, what the fuck? Like, why?
Yeah.
Then, after complaining, and I believe, everyone correct me if I'm wrong, as you all will, I believe that just by complaining, without presenting real evidence or any investigation being done, they reduced it from 30 days to 7 days.
Okay.
Which is a little weird for them to have given up so much ground so quickly.
Yeah. And
then eventually they reviewed it. There was a lot of mixed opinions about it in the community and the pro teams and whatever else. And eventually everyone was just like, yeah, he's just saying idiot. So I don't know if the ban was eventually lifted, but it was at least reduced to 7 days at least.
Okay.
But basically what the guy was saying is just like, obviously a temporary ban isn't a bad thing. But the problem is the reputation, the fact that his name is linked with these articles now saying, even though the end of every article, at least the research ones, basically go, allegedly used a racial slur. All people will see now in the headlines, if you even scroll through feeds or you scroll through news articles, you'll just see so-and-so racial slur banned Twitch. It's bad PR.
Yeah, most people don't read
and that's basically what
he
was saying. He was saying, exactly. And basically what he was saying is that the problem is the brand damage, not the fact that it happened. You can apologize all you want, but it happened,
Yeah.
It's like that guy. It has happened a few times, but specifically a few years ago that got out of jail. And I'm not equating them, but I'm saying the idea behind it is similar, and why he's worried.
Yeah.
Is like the guy who was accused of rape, and then when evidence finally surfaced that he was innocent, he was let go, but he was already in there for 20 years or some shit.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
They were just like, yeah, but they're actual examples.
No, just in general with crimes, people get.
Oh yeah, well yeah, but I'm talking, as I said, a more specific example. And then of course, people just being in the wrong headline with the wrong words. It can cause long-term damage, so that's what his concern was.
Well, he's right.
Especially because it's not true.
Yeah. Whoever... I mean, Twitch would have to put out, an apology and, just say, hey, we fucked up, we were wrong, this is not true.
Yeah.
So, but no, he's right. I mean, his reputation is tarnished now.
Yeah, it's rough, though, because, again, even if Twitch was to apologize, it's not like it would make... the only real way for everything to get rectified is for everyone who wrote an article about it, and including this section of this podcast, to just all be deleted. Agreed, and all simultaneously deleted from the internet.
No,
that's the only real way. Or any mention on Reddit, any mention on Twitter, would all have to be deleted simultaneously and all willingly for that to be undone. So, an apology by Twitch. And once it's done, it's done. It would be like apologizing after assaulting someone. I mean, it still happened. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
you can do it all you want and apologize, but
the best way to remove it from the public conscious is something worse has to happen immediately.
Basically, but that's pretty much it.
Poor guy. That sucks, man.
But if he actually did say a racial slur, fuck him.
Yeah, exactly.
But if what it looks like most people are saying is that he, and from what I heard in the footage, I didn't hear a racial slur. I just heard idiot.
I mean, I heard Yanny.
Then there's that. Huh?
Nothing.
Oh.
Rehashing a very old meme.
An old meme that no one will probably know.
Nobody cares about.
Yeah, there's that.
I saw a blue and black dress.
Kingdom Hearts 3 put out a new mode, but I'm going to skip that on the docket because I don't care. It's Kingdom Hearts.
What? I don't care either. Just kidding. We love Kingdom Hearts.
Well, I don't.
I know that.
John can love it. I don't.
I've never played it in my life.
I was debating on going on a tangent of why I don't like it, but you know what? Fuck it. I just don't. Because at this point, whoever likes Kingdom Hearts has already turned this off, so who cares?
I know. We're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts one way or another.
Okay, you know what? All I'll say is it's purely opinionated. I just don't like it. It's not like it sucks or whatever. I just don't. That's just not my thing.
Everything with Star Wars in it, I'd play it.
Well, then play Kingdom
Star Wars
Hearts
and
3.
Marvel. Is there Star Wars in it?
And Marvel.
And Marvel? Really? I might have to play now.
Actually, I can't remember if there's Star Wars. But anyways, so at a recent League of Legends tournament, man, League of Legends popping up. At a recent League of Legends tournament, the player, sorry, I had a stroke there. The player, Hungrybox, was...
Great name.
A crab was thrown at him, which is really weird. I don't know, it's not like they were at the... It's not like they were at the pier or some shit like that. I don't know where the fuck the audience member had it, but basically,
poor crab.
What happened is this guy worked all the way up from losers brackets to winning the entire tournament, and as he was giving his acceptance speech for the trophy, someone just threw a crab at him, and basically lost his temper.
Oh no!
The footage went viral, and it just looks like he's a dick. But I don't know. I don't think that it's justified for people to be saying that he wasn't. I mean, like, obviously he was upset. Like, I don't see where the. I mean, you have fucking people who are going to be like, well, he should have been professional. I'm sorry, I don't know, man. Like, if you were at your dad's funeral and I threw a crab at you while you were giving the eulogy, I don't think you'd be happy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where I don't understand how people can think that he was a jerk ass for getting upset about it.
Criticized for something like that. Like, think about how you'd act in the moment. Damn it. Stuff's falling again. No, I mean, I think he's... Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the footage, but they shit on his moment, you know?
Exactly. To me, that's the most fucked up thing. Like, to have a massive comeback like that.
Yeah, and then some asshole, some ass-hurt douche probably threw a crab at you. I'd be fucking pissed. I'd be like, what's his face? Seabass from Smash Mouth.
Oh, God.
Come on up here, badass.
But he just did something relevant.
I know, right? That sucks. Sorry, Hungrybox.
Hungrybox.
Sorry that happened to you. Totes support from this channel, I guess, in your righteous rage.
Right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I think it was understandable to be upset.
I'd be super
pissed. Unless he just started screaming racial slurs.
I
think that's in lieu of that. I think that it's fine to get a little mad if someone's a jackass like that to you.
Yeah, just put yourself in his shoes.
There you go. But someone recently figured out the... Oh, God. Someone recently figured out how to script... now, this is actual scripting, not the scripting light that was in Overwatch. But actual, not that tool. Obviously, there's real scripting in the actual game. But someone scripted custom quests into Witcher 3, which is really cool because now people can actually do their own expansions or whatever else. But the problem with that is the fact that the guy did say that it is very hard coding, so it's not like everyone's going to start doing this shit. Mm-hmm. But he did show that it's possible. So that's awesome news.
Kudos, that's fucking
cool.
cool.
Who are going to do that, kind of like why Skyrim has existed for so long, is the fact that the modding community for that is really good and abundant. So that's really, really nice.
I don't see CD Projekt Red coming after that guy either. So.
Yeah, so
very cool.
I don't think they will because the modding's not illegal.
Yeah, no, they're a cool company too.
That too. God of War, of course, does have a documentary coming out on YouTube, which could be interesting. Let me make that clear. It's about the last game.
Yeah.
The reboot
Not
that
the-
just happened. Not the whole series.
Is it what does it pertain to exactly? Like
The development of it.
making Okay.
Yeah, because it was, won like Game of the Year pretty much everywhere and all that stuff.
It was a good
and,
game.
It was
Solid.
good. It was
Yeah.
good. I'm not
Good
a fan of God of War past the first one, but this one was good. But yeah, so apparently the studio sifted through over 400 hours of behind-the-scenes footage to put it together. It is, again, going to be available on YouTube. The game itself was about 3 years in development, which explains why it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Taking your time, guys. It works.
Cough, Rockstar, cough.
Oh god, Rockstar took too much time. Rockstar needs to not do that.
I know.
But yeah, that should be cool.
I'd
so you
watch
should
it.
check it out on YouTube, see what's going on with there, and how God of War got good again. It's a documentary about that, essentially. Anthem delaying. They apparently had a big event that was planned, but they have delayed the. They were going to call it the Cataclysm event.
Oof.
And the whole roadmap itself has all been pushed out and delayed.
Don't worry, they'll
because, of course, like we talked about last time, they're hiring a bunch of people to fix the loot system because the loot system's fucked. And since it's a looter shooter, there's literally, not opinionated, there is no point in playing the game because the game is actually broken to the point where you can't play it. So there's that. Oh, we spoke about DMC5 earlier.
Mm-hmm.
DMC5 has announced that after the content that's been released thus far, there is no more DLC, there's no season pass or shit. The game just got done. The game was complete when it was released, and the game is done and good.
No, really,
and
what happened though? What did
that's
they
just
say?
how it should be.
No way, really, what happened though?
So aside Platinum Games, are pretty much the only other studio that have done that recently. I think that I don't know. It's just. You play these old games, and it's amazing that, whether you're on PS2 and before, yeah, there'd be the occasional typo, or something, a texture would be off, or something would be noticeable, but it would be, less than 1% of the game glitching or having errors. That it was amazing, where, that was, because, when games dropped, then, that was it.
Yeah.
If your game was fucked and broken... It was fucked and broken forever.
Yeah, and it's negligible what you mentioned.
Exactly. And the errors that were in the good games were negligible. So, I don't know, it's just a shame that that's just how good games should be, and it's nice to see that a game has come out recently that's like that.
Yeah, good
and
job.
Hopefully, unfortunately, I don't think most studios are going to get on that train, but
Fuck no.
I wish.
No, they're not.
Modders have been trying to fix Sonic 2006 in a remake. On Unity Engine, so everything's been running pretty good, looking pretty good at least. But unfortunately, since it still is Sonic 2006, feels like Sonic 2006, and there's only so much you can do to try to salvage that. But it's an interesting project because it's not a good game, so why? It's notoriously bad. I guess I was just trying to make a point. Destructoid wrote an article I thought was really cool recently because right now on Nintendo Switch you can get a bunch of retro NES games on there if you have their online subscription service. So you have a library of NES games that they're constantly adding to that you can play. So Destructoid was saying that it being a mobile format would be cool to see some Game Boy titles getting dropped on there.
Heck yeah, just give me some
so
Bomberman, baby.
That would be really cool. So I thought that was a cool idea. The Bloodborne board game is on Kickstarter now. The Dark Souls board game was the one that came out also on Kickstarter and was successfully funded and distributed. A lot of people I know that did get it. I mean, they liked it for collector's purposes, but apparently it wasn't really a great board game.
Oh, that's disappointing.
But, you get some cool probably cards and figures out of it, so there's that. Hopefully it does good. And maybe it'll be good this time.
Yeah, hopefully they got some feedback in that.
Yep. Super Mario Maker 2 announced for Switch and going to be coming out on June 28th. Super Mario Maker is a fun little, create your own horse. I love the concept of Super Mario Maker because to publish the level, you have to be able to beat it.
Yeah.
So, it's cool. You got some really difficult fucking shit on there.
Yep.
But not impossible.
I mean, good on you guys.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, a good game, but suffering something recently. And it being Ubisoft, it's a little hard to tell whether or not this was intentional or not.
Oh.
But their latest DLC dropped, and an issue some people have been reporting is that there's a ad that would normally appear on the menu, play the new expansion now, blah, blah, blah. We've all seen that in games. Overwatch, when you log on, Storm Rising, play now.
Yeah, Halo does the same still, yeah.
And whatever. But the problem that this particular person had reported and showed was that the ad kept showing up anytime they were doing anything. So if they were changing their equipment, if they were pausing, if they were saving, if they were loading, the ad kept showing up. And it was just really annoying. They did find a temp fix, but again, hard to tell if purposeful scripting or not. If it was Ubisoft, despite making a few good games lately, kind of, being their bad
old
money grub themselves.
Sorry guys, didn't mean to.
But that's been a thing. But the good thing is, the expansion and DLC that did drop, Fate of Atlantis, is part of an episodic series. It's apparently really good.
Cool.
I like the way Kotaku phrased it because it's pretty accurate. Is that it goes fucking hella sci-fi, which
is that a quote?
They didn't know. I ultra Life is Strange paraphrased their article, but basically you go, Atlantis, obviously lost world, blah blah blah. But the cool thing is, like the Doomer or Dwarven in like Elder Scrolls and stuff like that, and many other things, they are doing. The Atlanteans were advanced in culture.
Yeah.
So you got all sorts of steampunkish, kind of, again, or sci-fi influence fucking future shit. And,
cool.
Looks great.
No.
So it's a shame that the ad is harassing you to go play it, but come to think of it, looks like you should.
I'm going to get on that.
Looks really nice.
Big fan of Atlantis.
Odyssey's great. So, again, the last few things, they have been, the Odyssey and Origins, fucking making that series fucking key. Even if they went back on their thing of not doing yearly titles. But, hey, if they're good, fuck it.
Making AC great again?
God. Insomniac Games recently revealing a cool camera trick secret. How they were able to... And this is actually something I always wondered. And they explained it. How did they make the city and Spider-Man looks so massive without having bogged down or load issues because the whole map is fucking huge.
Yeah.
And basically the way it's framed, as you go towards the mission or as you go towards certain parts of the cities, the map is actually deloading behind you. But you never really see it because it's doing it at far enough and efficient enough that as you're doing it, it's really unnoticeable. Huh. But that's how they're actually managing is not as much of the map is actually loaded as it seems.
Cool.
So it's camera trick, essentially, but to help the performance of the game and not run shitty. So
it's pretty ingenious.
Very cool on them and letting us take a peek behind the curtain. That's really, really nice. I don't know, I liked it, so I thought that was really cool that they admitted to that.
Yeah.
So in the Fortnite Cup recently, they have banned over 1,200 players for cheating.
What?
Good.
Why would you... Good, yeah.
But that's the thing, actually, the one I wanted to open the conversation. This is the final topic, but I don't want to make the conversation. I really never got... Even when we were younger and GTA 3 was new and there were cheats and stuff like that, even GTA now, I just don't get the... What do you get from cheating? Other than, it's funny for, an hour, where, you just turn God mode and then you just have you have the army chasing you in GTA and you can't die, so who cares?
Yeah.
And then you just start punching people for a little bit and then you get guns.
Okay.
Now you have infinite ammo or, whatever other cheats was funny.
Yeah.
And then what? But I just don't... But when you're playing a game, a skill-based game, what do you get out of that? The millions of Chinese who use auto aimbots and shooters, and then
fucking PUBG,
and then that's it, or PUBG. What do you get out? It's not like you have all these medals. Yes, you have all these. Your rank is high and whatever, but you didn't. That's actually not you.
Yeah, you didn't do anything.
So I just never got the appeal of it.
You just sit back and watch. First game I ever used cheats in was I think Turok Evolution. You're right, it was fun for 30 minutes, and I'm they didn't come at me, I was invisible, so it was
why I don't care.
Fucking lame, yeah.
I just never got the rocks off that people get from it.
Cheat codes, yeah. Even in Pokemon, I wouldn't use cheat codes to get shinies.
Yeah, shit like that. It's you have a whole team of shinies, but you didn't do that.
No, you didn't find them. It's not special.
Exactly. And finally, one of the big talks of the week. Oh, and also, if you haven't checked them out yet, make sure to check out Radio Public. It's an app on iOS and Android where you can listen to a bunch of people's podcasts, including our own, and then you listen to us directly through the app. It does help us directly and supports the podcast, so please do so. And you can find out more in our link in the description below. That wasn't the final topic, but the final topic is...
in the middle.
Oh, God. The final topic is, lately, a lot of people have been coming out, Epic Games, about the Fortnite crunch that's been happening. A lot of... You know, you heard this lately. You heard about the Anthem abuse, you know, developers just fucking having to redo Anthem. Because the Anthem that came out is only like a year old. Anthem in general has been in development for like 9 years.
Wow.
And just lots of bullshit. Check out Jason Schreiber's article about that. But just a lot of bullshit happened there and a lot of hours and manpower thrown in there. Same thing with Red Dead 2's development. You know, we heard about the abuse there and the exorbitant amount of overtime that they were being forced to. Mm-hmm. And I say forced because it really is. We'll get into the political side of that later, but they weren't forced, but they were. You know, it's like one of those things where Rockstar was like, well, not every team had to do overtime. Yeah, but that means that you're admitting that there was a team that did extreme overtime.
No, but it's in their contract.
And even then, and that's the thing is it's not. But we'll get there.
No, I know. I was reading, yeah.
But basically, we've heard about these cases before, and now Fortnite, being the explosive success that it has been over the last couple of years, has kind of gotten in there too. And the problem is, whereas Red Dead 2 and Anthem, well, Anthem has a roadmap, but whereas Red Dead 2 wrapped, it still did, it has online. Well, fuck them. All these games that have this ongoing bullshit causes this to happen. Because you got to keep supporting the game, because you got to keep having the big bucks come in, right?
Yep.
And basically, a lot of Epic employees, under anonymity, of course, because they don't want to get fucking fired, have been coming out and saying how they've been working... The average complaint has been about 70, 80 hours a week, which is wild to think. That's a shitload of hours.
Yeah.
Think about it, like
80 hours
2 times more than what you work a week. So imagine working twice as much as you work every week. Every week. I don't know why I said that twice. What I meant is, every 2 weeks, imagine how much hours that is. So every pay period, essentially.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily under time and a half. Not every hour is on the clock. So you're not making as much money as it makes it sound like you're making by working that much. Some people have actually reported in 100-plus hour weeks. So they're just fucking murdering their employees. I mean, it happened with, you know, it happens all the time where you just have people who just stop coming in to work on it. People go away, you know, like with Anthem, you had people who were actually being doctor ordered to take time off and just didn't come back again. Just absolutely not wanting to deal with it.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't.
This is just starting to happen at Fortnite because they're getting the fucking whip cracked on them, and they're saying, you know, content, think of the next expansion, think of the next event, you, what's the next weapon, what's the next dance, what's the next, whatever the case is, just everything, because they're just like, we got it, this cannot die, so they're just fiercely shoveling coals in, and they're just like, shit, like, some of us are actually dying,
mm-hmm.
like, sleep depravity, not seeing their family, whatever the case is, just really, really bad shit. And what a lot of these horseshit companies like to say is that, well, you know, it's not necessarily, we're not making them do overtime. Guys, you know the definition of overtime, right? It's optional. But here's the problem. It may not say, this is how the companies get away with it. It may not say that it's mandatory. It doesn't. Okay, the contract doesn't. But think about any time you've ever been told by someone who clearly wants you to do something. It's fine, though. If you don't do it, it's fine. It's never actually fine. They hold that shit against you.
Yeah.
When you don't do that favor for someone, they hold that against you. See, in the video game industry, and I remember I went to a panel about this at PAX, which was a fantastic panel where several people who work in the games industry talked about how hard it is to keep a job, because it's not like you never once the game's wrapped, you don't have a guaranteed next game. You're always looking for work again, and
mm-hmm.
you know, the sequel maybe 5 years later. You can't not work for 5 years. They didn't make that much money. And that's the thing, you know, when it comes down to it, if you don't work that overtime, when it comes time, when your contract runs out in 3 months and it's time for them to re-sign the Fortnite team, you're probably not going to get re-signed if you never did overtime.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not going to get recommended to the next project you apply for if you use them on your resume because you didn't do the overtime. You become, that guy, and he didn't put in, when it was crunch time, that guy just left every day. That's not going to look good on any resume. And that's the problem. It's not, it's mandatory, it's like mandatorily voluntary. It's fucked up. And we just see this time and time again, and it's just corporate greed running it.
Yeah.
Because the people making these calls, you know that they're not the ones working the overtime.
Fuck no. They go home, they barely work a 40-hour week.
Yep. And that's the thing, and they're raking in more dough. And, cry as you will for the blue-collar workers, but it really is just on a moral level. Like, not that that's ever stopped business, but it's just, there's no way to really justify it. I just don't think that it's, I can't think of a valid argument, and if you can, please, again, email us, but I just can't think of a valid justification as to why this is okay behavior in the game industry and how it's becoming more and more common as the game gets successful.
I don't think it's necessarily that it's the gaming industry that has it as a standard. It's just this is the way it's always been in any industry. Take going back, textile mills back in the day, back in the day, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah. But no. That's gonna get that's comparing it to something a little more hyperbolous. I get the point.
Yeah.
So I'm not killing off the analogy because of that. I'm just saying strictly we're talking about fucking games, man. Those guys who are at least doing something to what they're producing will actually better someone's life.
True, but this is where I was going. It's just having games like this where there's constant output, where you need to constantly have to update, where having an always online game.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, you always have to have content put out there to keep it fresh, to keep people coming back, and that's where the problem kind of arises. Going, back in the day to old gaming. Once a game, like you said, once a game was done, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't come back to it. Maybe the developer finds another team, maybe they don't. But more than likely, they'll go find another gig because they put in the work on this one, and it's quality work. Well, now there's no metric to measure that quality by because they're constantly working. There is no stopping point.
Well, there isn't, and that's fine. But 100-hour work week can never be justified.
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying, is that it's kind of the root causes the game itself. Because these people, there's such a high demand for more and more.
I believe at the moment 250 million active players.
Yeah.
Not simultaneous, but...
No, yeah, but at least within, if not a day, within a week. Or within a few days. To keep up with that kind of content, you need to have almost an automated workforce.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. What you need is more people, but obviously there's more people to pay.
That's the thing. They don't want to pay.
Yeah.
What you need is shifts.
It's wild, the thing, and it sucks that these people have their dream job, but now that they probably don't want to do it.
It's a fucking nightmare.
That's really what it is.
There's no justification for it, and you're right. It is corporate greed. It's terrible that the people that produce these things that we love have to suffer for it.
Yeah, it almost makes it somewhat unenjoyable in a way. Like
from a moral standpoint,
it kind of if this is what it takes to make these games, thank God it hasn't really happened to anything I'm really crazy about because, I didn't care about Anthem, I don't care about Fortnite. It was a little sad to hear about Red Dead, but I mean, Rockstar, goddamn you guys, really just take time on it. They did and they didn't. Basically, they took enough time. You already took that long. Well, then fucking, what's a little bit more at this point?
Yeah, it was 8 years between the two games?
Some shit like that, and say production was 5 years?
Yeah.
What's another 1 or 2?
Yeah, who cares? Fuck the publisher. Just make the game.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy, though, yeah. But then again, it comes to that corporate greed, because the publisher's always hitting out that, Wolverine's Origin's coming out, we gotta get out this shitty game by then. Oh, but it could be a fun game. Oh, God, that's actually perfect. That actually reminds me of the one example I can think of where Platinum Games actually wasn't perfect, but it wasn't their fault, was the fucking Ninja Turtles game. That was the worst game they ever made.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
It was bad because it was pushed to come out with this stupid-ass movie.
That's what happens.
That's what happens. Even a great studio like fucking Platinum can release garbage if you force them to come out early.
You know what's ridiculous is that they still don't get it. The publishers, that is, they don't see, because all these games they sell, but they don't sell well.
Well, that's the problem, right?
After
It's
the first
like
wave, they don't sell ever again because
so many
people realize they're
studios.
shit.
So many studios have closed down because they've compared them to ridiculous examples, like going, you didn't like, oh god, what game was it? Oh my god, I can't remember. Well, there's several games, but basically what happens is a game will come out at the same time as, say, a Call of Duty title.
Yeah.
And the game will come out, and not Call of Duty game will sell 14 million of the 10 million projected copies. Like, just kill it.
Yeah.
But EA or whoever will go, but did you see what Call of Duty did? And it's just like, what the fuck kind of metric is that?
Shit, it's fucking Call of Duty. Every male in America ages like 8 to 17 is at least going to have the copy.
Exactly. It's wild, like, but that's how they see it. And then I understand that they're probably the people making those calls are probably the whipping boy of someone higher, but still, like, the shit rolls
downhill. Yeah, I know,
and
but they're idiots. The ones shitting at the top are fucking idiots.
Yep, they're just greedy morons.
I said idiots.
Yeah, nice. They're just shitty, greedy morons that just don't care, and it's sad because passion gave them a job. Not that they earned it through passion.
I don't know
what I'm saying is they got there by being an investor or whatever.
Yeah.
They got where the money's coming in came through the passion of people working on these games, and then got them money that got them higher and higher.
Yeah. But
now they're killing what's causing
that greed, though.
Exactly. So I don't know, it's fucked up.
Yeah, I feel for the people making these games. I really do. Because, I mean, I willingly put in 60 hours a week, and even then I'm fucking dead. And that's because there's not, we're getting more people. But that's what it comes down to. There's not enough people. The bosses don't want to, not my boss, the bosses of these companies just don't want to shell out
more because their millions would have to get down to less millions to have other people have a comfortable work situation.
Yeah, greed's a bitch, man.
Yep.
Fuck it.
It's really fucked up. But yeah, that's it. Again, let us know your thoughts on that. I doubt any of you would side with the industry side, but if you can't think of a valid argument in why the game industry should be like this, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, please do.
I really do. Ooh, that's a steep hill you'd be crawling up, but I'd like to hear your arguments. But, of course, if you do have any thoughts in favor of our opinions as well, definitely hit us up and let you know you have a personal story. If you know anyone or you yourself were affected by try to keep it game industry related, because I'm sure everyone has a story about, not otherwise. But, any type of related stories or arguments, let us know. Again, at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com.
You will remain anonymous.
Yes, of course. Unless you want to be known, just let us know. And again, that's disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. And John, for those who stayed after we dissed everything and lost everything and burned all the bridges.
Yep.
Where can our lovely listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at disasterman_music or on Twitter at evildeadguy.
There you go.
Patrick.
And you can find me at ZDRocker on most social media platforms and everything at SlimAsianEntertainment.com. And you can find all our episodes of Disconnected Cast at disconnectedcast.com. Until next week, we will see you guys later. Until then, see ya.
Oh, one final note. Do not spoil Endgame.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
If you do that,
don't,
fuck off.
Just fuck off.
Alright then, see y'all later.
Have a good one, y'all.